The pandemic of 2020 didn't just threaten our lives, but also our livelihoods. Personally, the realization that my life wasn't as secure as it appeared was terrifying. Today, I want to show you how committing to your passions can prevent you from ever having to feel that way again. But there's more. If enough of us can supplement or replace our incomes by sharing our skills and passions with others, we could give rise to a new kind of economy. A passion economy that's more resistant to shocks and incentivises us as individuals to actually lead more intentional and fulfilling lives. Don't forget to subscribe to more videos on intentional living, but for now, let's just explore what the passion economy could do for you. The passion economy is the idea that new technology and increasing scarcity of well-paid traditional jobs will lead more people than ever to monetize their passions. People will begin to realize that they no longer have to make a choice between what they love doing and what they think will provide a steady income. With an increased amount of wealth being driven by small businesses and solopreneurs, the dynamic of our economy will change forever. This isn't a new idea by any means, but it's becoming more and more mainstream because of the crisis that we've experienced in 2020. I'll offer some advice on how you can make the passion economy work for you towards the end of this video. But first, I think it's really important to understand exactly why the pandemic caused this trend to accelerate so rapidly. And ironically enough, it's actually things like the furlough scheme here in the UK or Kurzarbeit in Germany that were originally designed to keep the existing economy on life support that have given people enough free time and an income to go and explore their passions and to make something else for themselves other than their day-to-day job. Other people who did work throughout lockdown, albeit remotely, will have found new time at the start and end of their days to work on side projects, learn new skills, and some of them might have found a new calling that has inspired them to change the way they live their life even after the pandemic. But beyond that, people found themselves engaging with different kinds of media in new ways than ever before. That brought entirely new demographics to places like YouTube or Twitch, and meant that there's now even more people to reach on those platforms who may not have been as interested before. You only have to look at AOC streaming Among Us with well-known Twitch streamers to really understand just how much the demographics have changed throughout this year. But technology in itself really had to take a massive leap forward this year too, because for the first time ever, things like Microsoft Teams, Slack, Google Suite and Zoom all got stress tested with mass audiences and quickly realised that not all of their features were exactly how they should have been. This, along with the experience of having to use these tools in the real world, means that the technology has improved to no end in a short amount of time and opened up new ideas for how we can work together remotely. That means if you can figure out a unique way to use these tools to get in touch with your audience, then you'll have a massive advantage over other people who are a little bit slower to move. But the passion economy can change our lives too, because it can give us the flexibility to choose where and how we want to live. Being able to work anywhere will allow us to leave big cities, but if you can also monetize your passion as a second stream of income, then you'll have a cushion that will allow you that freedom to make big changes in your life without risking everything. And you'll also have more freedom to opt out of experiences that don't bring you any real value. And in fact, in the passion economy, any generalized mass market brand might fall victim to smaller, more tailored solutions that come out of someone's bedroom. One big problem is that a lot of the time, those choices will still be managed by big platforms like Facebook or Amazon. But at least as a consumer, you'll be able to buy more things that you actually believe in, not just whatever can afford the rent at your local train station. And I really believe that the passion economy means that global will no longer be seen in opposition to local. Digital media will continue to connect us with the wider world, while locally owned businesses will thrive as people spend more time away from commuter hubs and offices. Over time, more people will invest in their local communities, whether by social enterprises or small businesses. And at some point in the future, I feel like the debate around the death of the high street will actually become how can we use our public spaces in a much more meaningful way for the whole community, whether that's by creating new parks or leisure activities, or whether it's co-creation spaces where people can just drop in and work together and network in a much more fluid way than we've seen in the past. There should also be a big conversation about housing, not just in terms of taking back the land that big corporations have taken from us, but also about how new buildings can cater for home workers. Will flats now need an office space built into them? That's something that architects are no doubt thinking about right now, but will impact us in the next 10 or 20 years. And the passion economy will no doubt have the biggest impact on the younger generations. We may have to drastically rethink the way we educate our children so that we can prepare them for the technologies they're likely to use throughout their careers, but also to open their eyes into how they can make a real, intentional and fulfilling life for themselves using their passions. But to be honest, a lot of them have probably already figured this out long before we have. And I think you'll start to see a shift in the way that wealth is distributed across the generations, as younger people are more open to and influenced by new ideas that will help them to create their own kind of wealth based on their passions. I think you'll also see a lot more diverse businesses, both in terms of the people who are leading them and the products and services that they're producing. And that can only be a good thing. Share the love and give me a thumbs up down below, because we're now going to go into what you can do to make the passion economy work for you. And the first thing is to start with what you love and not where you see the most opportunity. Remember, we're not talking about replacing your entire income here, at least not for the first few years. So do something you're passionate about, and I guarantee you that there are enough people out there who like the same kind of things that you do and love the way that you present that passion to the world. Digital products are great for that because they can offer you a passive stream of income. But if you've just got a super niche physical product that a handful of people will really find value in, then that's amazing. You can look to platforms like Etsy or even Instagram to connect with people around the world who really share your passion for what you're making. And as things like food banks have shown, if your passion is just to put some good out there into your local community and connect with people and help people around you, now there are even more ways to reach the people who care about similar issues to fund your charity drive. So look to sites like GoFundMe to really kick off what you're trying to achieve. Remember that the flexibility afforded to you by working remotely or going on furlough is what gives you the power to change your destiny and create a more intentional life for yourself in the passion economy. But most employers are still at the mercy of commercial landlords who are holding them to big rental agreements that they have to pay out for several years to come. These people are terrified about a crash in demand for office spaces, especially in big cities, and they're going to do everything they can to get you back into the office and to stifle your dreams. We're going to have to fight for this, but the good news is that if employers don't open their minds to their employees doing something on the side or living more remotely, then they're going to lose the most talented staff members to more progressive companies that do encourage that kind of behaviour. But we need a critical mass of us who are brave enough to challenge companies in that way to make sure that we can lead the life we want. And if you don't know what your passion is, or you've had false starts in the past and don't really know how to make money or a career path out of what you really love doing, then don't worry, experiment, retrain yourself, try out loads of different courses. Eventually something might stick, and the worst thing that happens is that you could learn a lot of different skills along the way. I'm at the very start of this journey too, just like you are. So if you want someone to be there with you along the way, then why not consider subscribing? We got loads of content coming up about different mindsets and lifestyles that can help you lead a more intentional life. Until then, I'll see you in a bit.